You see all of those successful people, YouTubers, entrepreneurs, businessmen, talk about meditation. You probably even practice it yourself. And even if you don't practice it, you know that it's a good thing for you. Have you ever thought, however, about what is it that you get from meditation? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever asked yourself, what's the point of even meditating? That and many other questions we are going to answer in this video. Now, before we get into what you came here to watch, which are the three benefits of meditating, I think it's necessary to define both meditation and mindfulness. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna explain it with bro science for what they both mean. So mindfulness, meditation first is to focus on your breath for a predetermined amount of time with the purpose of reaching a heightened state of mind. Whilst mindfulness, on the other hand, is the heightened state of mind that you're trying to reach. And that heightened state of mind that you are trying to achieve, mindfulness, is presence, consciousness, awareness in the moment. It's being present in the moment. That's what being mindful means. So the correlation between those two, mindfulness and meditation, is that the more you meditate, the more mindful you will become. So that's the simple correlation, and mindfulness and meditation explain in really simple terms with pro science, man. Like I said. So now let's get to what you came here to watch, man, which are the three benefits. So benefit number one of meditating is that it will help you to get rid of your addictions. So before I found self-improvement and this whole idea of taking a step back from technology, of meditating and exercising and doing productive stuff with your time, I used to be addicted to a lot of things, man. I used to go to parties every weekend, and at those parties I would drink, I would smoke weed, I would just have meaningless conversations, man. I also was addicted to League of Legends. I was diamond in it. And I would say that my worst addiction was that I used to be addicted to anime. I watch hundreds of animes, bro, and literally I have a list that proves that shit, man. And I was addicted to a lot of things, like I said, man, including porn and all the other things that modern people are addicted to. Now, however, I am not addicted to any of those things, man. In fact, I spend my time doing productive shit, man. I exercise 6 days a week. I meditate every day. I journal every day. I educate myself with books and podcasts every day. I do productive stuff with my time, you know? And I give all the credit in the world to meditation. And now some people might think oh, but you're just making that correlation yourself. It doesn't prove anything, which is a fair point. But to those people, my answer is that I'm not only saying this from experience. I'm not only talking about this because meditation changed my life and helped me overcome my addictions, it will help everyone. I'm not just saying it because of that, man. That's part of it. But another part is that meditation helping you to overcome your addictions is something that's literally backed up by science. It's literally backed up by science, man. I learned that after reading the book The Craving Mind by Judson Brewer. I don't really recommend the book. It's kind of boring and dull, but it gives a lot of good information. And something I learned from that book is this correlation between meditation and addictions, and using meditation as a treatment for addictions. And one of the many things that research has found about meditation with addiction is that the more you meditate, the more this part of your prefrontal cortex that is in charge of addictions will regress. So it will do the opposite of developing, it will regress. So the more you meditate, this part of your prefrontal cortex that is in charge of addictions will regress. So it's a direct correlation between those two things, between meditation and addiction. So that's basically the science of it explained with bro science, man, of meditation and addiction. And that's, if you have been meditating for a while, even if you haven't been aware of this, That's the process you have been going through. Because you are meditating more and for longer, now this part of your brain that is in charge of addictions has regressed. It's a direct correlation, like I said. If you are planning on meditating, that's the process that you are going to go through if you start. That's the process I subconsciously went through without really knowing, man. That is the process that allowed me to transition from being someone that was addicted to League of Legends, to porn, to weed, alcohol, and all of those things that all people are addicted to nowadays, into being someone that's actually productive, into being someone that has built a really decent physique, that spends his time learning and doing productive stuff. Meditation helps you to get rid of your addictions. Now, point number two, and the benefit number two, is that meditation will give you control over your impulses. So, back in the day, I don't really remember one, but they did a research, and they were trying to find out the traits that billionaire people had in common. And the three traits that most of billionaires have in common are that one, they have a superiority complex, so they feel like they're better than everyone. Number two is that they have crippling insecurities, which means that they have this feeling of never being good enough. And number three, which is related to this topic, is that they have control over their impulses. They have high levels of impulse control. And I think it's obvious, man, that you cannot expect to be successful if you cannot control your impulses. So now try to make this correlation between meditation and success, because it gives you more impulse control. And I'm going to explain why it does. So the way in which I see this is in the following, man. So imagine that, just imagine an average person in a waiting room. What's the thing that, like, the first thing that is going to come to his mind? What is the thing that 99% of people are going to do in a waiting room? So they are waiting for the number to be called at the doctor's waiting room. What is the thing that they're going to do? They're going to go on their phones, right? But have you ever thought if they decided to do that or not? They never decided it. They just felt the impulse of grabbing their phones and scrolling on social media, and they just did it, man. They didn't even think about it, man. They just grabbed their phones. It didn't cross their mind that they were feeling this impulse of grabbing their phones. Whilst when you meditate, on the other hand, people that meditate, they have the power of choice. Every time someone asks me, like, what is the point of meditating and what does meditation do to you? I always tell people that meditation gives you the power of choice. And what I mean that if it gives you the power of choice is that you are still going to feel those impulses. Even if you meditate a lot, you're still going to feel those impulses from time to time. You are human after all. But people that meditate and are in that waiting room and feel the impulse of grabbing their phone, they're going to be able to recognize the fact that they are feeling the impulse of grabbing their phone. So, because you are conscious and you are mindful and present in the moment, you are going to be able to recognize, like, oh, like, I feel like grabbing my phone now. I'm feeling this impulse of grabbing my phone. Do I want to grab it or not? That's what I mean when I say that it gives you the power of choice. Meditation gives you the power to choose what is it that you want to do. Because you are not like all of those average people and NPCs that are just doing shit by impulse and instinct and habit. Now, because you meditate, you are able to recognize all of those different patterns that are part of your life. And because you are able to recognize them unlike average people, you are able to do something about it. You have the power to choose. That's a wonderful thing about meditation. And because you have the power to choose, you can now have control over those impulses. Meditation gives you control over your impulses. That's benefit number 2. Now, benefit number 3 of meditation is that it will make you, or at least it will make people perceive you as someone that's more charismatic. So more meditation and mindfulness equals more charisma. So now, I would say that an easy way to explain this is by giving you the following example. So imagine that you are in a room with two people, with two guys, and let's say that they have the exact same personality. Like, bro, the exact same personality, but they have different habits. So, guy number one, person number one, he has a lot of good habits. He exercises, he has a healthy diet, he doesn't indulge on social media and modern addictions. And on top of that, he meditates. Person number two, on the other hand, or guy number two, is someone that's average. Is the kind of person that, like, bro, he sometimes exercises, but also sometimes watches porn. He tries to do good stuff from time to time, but also sometimes does bad habits. He's someone that has bad habits. He's average. So who do you think is going to be liked by more people? And who's going to be liked in general? The first guy, obviously, but have you ever thought why? Like, why is the first guy going to be liked by more people? Like, sure, some people might make the argument, which is a good one, that because you are healthy, like the first guy, you are generally going to be in a better mood. And because you are going to be in a better mood, then you are going to reflect that out to the world. That's a good argument. But that's not the whole picture. Because you gotta have a mind and you gotta add meditation to the equation. And I think that a word that does this and that simplifies this in the best way is presence. And the way in which I see this, and it's not just my opinion, man, it's just the way it is. It's the science behind this, behind presence being important, is that being able to read all the people's reactions and faces and micro expressions is so important that we as humans are wired to detect micro expressions within 17 milliseconds. 17 milliseconds. That's the margin error that we have. So having that in mind, having the fact that we are wired to detect micro expressions within 17 milliseconds, so we know right away what someone else is thinking. Who do you think is going to be liked more? That person who is not in the moment? That person who doesn't meditate and is not present and mindful and is not listening fully to you? Or this person that is present in the moment, that is mindful, and that is mindful because he meditates? Who do you think is going to be more liked? The second person. And the reason why he's going to be more liked is because you are able to detect all the micro expressions so rapidly. This person that is present in the moment is going to be perceived as someone who listens. It's going to be perceived as someone who is in the conversation, who is engaged in it, and that's paying attention to all of your words. And people like to be listened to. People that are engaged in a conversation, man. Presence will give you more charisma. And even in my opinion, I would say that presence is the key for being more charismatic. That's how important presence is, man. Now, having those three benefits in mind, like I could just come here and tell you, like, oh, meditation changed my life and tell you my story. But I'm not going to do that, man, because that would be boring. All I'm going to tell you is that you have seen all the benefits of meditation. Those are like 3 of the hundreds of benefits that you're going to get out of meditating. Just 3, man. And in the same way that it has changed the lives of so many people, I'm sure that it will change yours. I promise you that. So instead of keep thinking, should I meditate, man, or not? Just go and do it, man. Like, it's not even that hard. You just gotta focus. And the amount of upside that you're gonna get from it is just like infinite, to be honest. So I would say that it's stupid not to meditate. Just go and do it, man. Set the bar high, man. We both know you can.